information. Thank you. I'm in trouble. They relay that information to that operations center, the emergency operations coordinator, who lets emergency managers know what's going on in the area so they can get teams of people that specialize in taking care of public. So we need to make sure that the weather nets are all run smoothly and people know how to respond to those weather nets. That's why this program today. And today I'm going to introduce our Oklahoma section manager, who is part of today's team, Mark Kleine, N5HZR, along with his co-host on here, Phil Sinnett. Everybody knows Phil. He does a lot of nets, so he's real efficient at this. So I'm going to introduce Mark and let him start with today's program.
Since Mark's already done the entire presentation, anybody have any questions? All right, we'll see you later. When is the dance? The dance starts now. First of all, I'm glad you all are here. Thank you all for coming. We've had a lot of questions on people doing weather nets, and we've always gotten weather views from outside of the club, and we really wanted to do one inside the club to try to show what we should be doing as a club in reaction to the net. So the focus of this is going to be on what we as amateurs do to support the weather nets and the weather service and how that happens. Phil is supposed to be assisting me being the bad cop. So if you miss season here, run him up in front. Like they said, we're here for the weather service stuff. How many here have participated in weather operations in the past? Yay, big numbers. And that's good. We want to keep that going. SCARS is a Weather Ready Nation ambassador. That is a distinction with the Weather Service that allows them to send us information that we put in the newsletter that we use to help build the preparedness information for us. If you want to know more about the Weather Ready Nation status, that's at the bottom of the screen. That's the website URL. A lot of big companies do this. A lot of we do it in my office. Take that information and disseminate it out. It's a good program if you're interested. If you have an organization that deals with employees and people in the state, you might want to get involved with that as well. One thing I'm going to hit, I'm going to go back and hit, is that these slides and the presentation is available at the bottom of the page of w5nor.org/weather. So if you'd like to play along, you can pull that slides up as well. See what's coming in. Or if you get home and you want to say, gosh, what was on that slide? It's there at w5nor.org/weather. Big thing for you and me and everybody in the state of Oklahoma is to stay informed during severe weather situations. They say you're supposed to have 3 different sources, and I'll say none of them should be the bottom one. Everybody's like, huh? Oh. The good idea is to start looking at the severe weather stuff now, because what you see as biased or what you see as information differs among the sources every once in a while. We also need some different sources to come in, because depending on power situations, you may not have power to a radio or to a TV, and you may just have access to a phone. Be familiar with all of the tools that you have in front of you. We're going to talk about each one of these in detail as we go through them, but these are the big 5 that I pushed forward. NASA NWS weather radio is at 162.400. Does anybody here have weather radios at home? Who does not have it programmed with the right codes correctly? Okay, just me. The weather radio will actually sound if it gets in the county. That can get tough when something skirts the edge of the county. We had one last the thunder snow event we had a week ago or two. There was a little tiny corner of Cleveland County, just like 57 feet that was up in the warning area, up in that area. And it blew off the alarm at my house and couldn't figure out why. It was just the top of the county. So make sure you're having code set on that. Amateur radio, those are the three biggies here. For our area, 145, 14706, 145, 410, and DMR 31408. We'll talk about those later. Internet sources, my favorite is our friends at the Weather Service, weather.gov/OUN. OUN is OU Norman, and that gives us our area. That takes everything from us to the southwest. There are other areas. For Andrew, you might have to pull one from the Amarillo as well to get that part of the country. But other parts of the country have their stuff. These guys always have the up-to-date stuff. They have information from us. This one's last. Good place to go. Larry's got something up here with more details, but we'll choose that. Who here has M-Ping on their phone? Never heard of it. Who does not have M-Ping on their phone? Okay, while you're here, you can go do that. It's a free app on Android or the other one, whatever it is. And you can download, you can download that. You can download on that app and get involved with reporting. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And the final one is the broadcast media. And those guys are just random is the best thing I can come up with. So I don't work the web service, I don't say that, but watch what you see on TV. If you compare the 3 channels versus the weather service radar, the radar is very widely in this show. First off, we're going to talk about the NOAA weather radios. There's 2 things here. One is make sure the thing's programmed right so it'll blow off in the middle of the night, wake you up. Instead of having it for South Texas, which I had one of the radios from our shop that came in from South Texas and woke me up 2 in the morning when a storm went through San Antonio because I forgot to change the codes on it. Not a good thing to do that. You would have thought what it worked? I would have thought it went off. No, you wouldn't have thought it went off. No, that's why it's really important for us to know that. Having that signal, you will get the codes from all over the country. So you're not sure where they're coming, you'll get some stuff. So weather.gov/OUN/radio, we'll talk about the radio frequencies all over the state. 162.400 is here, and you're out, you know what yours is out there? Probably not. 140, yes, 162.55. So there's different transmitters across the state. Last year, what was it, 3-4 months, they had a problem with that. They had an antenna fail, and they had to actually cart the antenna up to the top of the tower and replace it. But, yeah, Chickasha is also here as well. We should have a couple different sources on Oklahoma that was very good. So that's a very good source on a good day. That's a very good sound source on a bad day. However, program your radios today so that you're ready. I'm always the guy that shows up at the storm, when the storms are going over. What the heck was my button? How do I push the buttons to get that into my radio? Make sure you have that in on your radios and test it out very frequently. We do a Tuesday night net and a Tuesday night net. The Aries has a great way to do some tests. While you're on that test, bump your weather radio and make sure that you can hear the audio from. Good way to do those kind of things. We have, and the Weather Service has a great article on getting an external antenna. So if you're in an area that has a reception problem, I don't know if anybody does. I know we've got some for the city of Norman places like recreation centers that have had problems getting a signal inside a building. Our friend Peter Gore's son, Josh, has made some J-pole antennas with help from all of us Elmer and folks. And that information is at w5nor.org/WX radio. It'll show you how to build a little antenna. That's a little J-pole receiving antenna. It does a great job to increase your reception. A lot of those have an RCA jack on the back, so you need an RCA jack to get the signal to your device. pay attention to that when you plug it in. Make sure it works. Local severe weather nets. How many here have been on the Aries Tuesday night net? Okay, wave your hand. You've been on it. Almost all of us have been on that net. That's awesome. That net is a weekly check-in net, and the main goal of that net is to make sure your stuff is prepared. We have multiple different options as backups. 146.88 is a backup, currently out of service. Got the antenna that's broken. It's out of service. Got an antenna that's broken and a power supply that's broken, so it's down currently. But the way we have our plan in Norman set is that 147.06 repeater is primary. The 88 machine is secondary. That makes sure everybody that has a VHF radio can still get on. Now that the dual band radios are getting to be more and more popular, 443.7 is a great option to do the network on it. The final piece is the 147.06 Simplex. So should all of the repeaters get shut down, should there be a power case, we want to go to 147.06 Simplex. How many people have their radios programmed for all of these frequencies and can get to them right away? Glad to hear it. Tuesday night, these are tests. So the Tuesday night nets are typically run on 06, but Bill will bounce them around to the others as required to do some testing. 145.410 is Oklahoma City. And I keep forgetting where that's at. Is it still on Crossroads?
I think so. I say that.
Because
Maybe up around the capital.
they raised the rent on those Crossroads antennas. Everybody vanished from them, but I don't know if the state's still on that. But it's in that Crossroads area, 145.410. Yes.
I think it's on 104th, this east side.
104th east of Bryant. I would think so because they jack the rent up, and I know you can get it to HD. You can get it with minimal effort from you, which is good. That repeater is scheduled to be, I'll use my words carefully, visited by weather service personnel. So if there's a ham on duty at the weather service, they will be listening to that, and you will hear updates from that machine. That is a very good machine, and you can get a lot of information there. So those 5 are the places to be. Make sure you can hit those now, so you can hit them when you're in a severe storm situation. Something that's very new to the DMR. The Swear Bunch Southwest, yeah, they're converting mostly over to the DMR stuff, but their Southwest is 147.03. Something that's very new to the DMR community, literally on the order of probably 6 weeks, is the talk group 31408. Anybody got that up programmed in their radio yet? Ooh, we need to work on that. 31408 is static linked on most of the Oklahoma repeaters. We're still getting a few of them turned on. But that talk group is set up dedicated for severe weather in the state of Oklahoma. So during some of this snow, this last one was a bust, but during some of the snow events in the last 3 or 4 weeks, there were people on there 24 hours a day that were catching the snow as it came in, and you could see the stuff leaving the state on the far side. So 31408, you can also pick that up off of Brandmeister online. So if you don't have DMR, you can actually listen to that at the Brandmeister hose. Questions to help set that piece up, but that should be pretty easy. The state is active statewide during severe weather. So if there's an event, the goal is to push it through, and the goal is to start using that. There are plans to integrate DMR with the weather service directly. Nothing's there running now. May not make it, probably won't make it to this severe storm season, but there are plans working to get that done. Every Saturday morning at, oh my God, it's too early, 8 o'clock in the morning, is a weather net where the guys will get on and discuss the weather for the day, for the upcoming period. So if you want to get on and listen to weather, talk weather, jump on the 314-008 on VMR, and you'll be able to listen to see what they're all about. Amateur stuff is something you should check, you should double check, you should triple check. How many people have gotten on the Tuesday night net without benefit of a tone or the offset or yeah, there's hands going up, or the battery not working, or something else that causes problems. Every Tuesday is that's there to test those kind of things. I know I've grabbed talkies that don't have offsets. I've grabbed talkies that don't have codes in place. So practice those and check the weather radio. Internet sources, these are some good ones. Larry's got another one up on the screen that you really likes, and I forgot all about it. It's called Weather Tap. And that's weathertap.org.com. Weathertap.com. Is that a free one? That is a purchased one?
Yeah, it's like $6 or $7 a month.
$6 or $7 a month for weathertap.com. That's what you're seeing on the second screen. I guess we got a storm going through. That's the same storm we benefited from. And
Now it's severe weather in Florida.
Oh, is there severe down there?
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, that's Florida. Got it. I thought that was Alabama. So severe weather in Florida. Click on something. Click on something there to bring up your weather warning. That will actually bring up the weather warnings and do that as well. Weather Underground has the same kind of piece, same deal. It's a free one, weatherunderground.com. They have a wonder map that is also something you can do the same thing with. Works out very well. Yeah.
Quick comment on the Weather Underground. How many in here actually have a weather station at their house? One that's wireless back to your house. Those are pretty cool. You go to Weather Underground, you can actually look up various locations around the area. So people who have those listed on Weather Underground and see what the weather's like at that location. So it gives you real time right there at that moment.
Weatherground's changed a lot since IBM won.
Weather Underground has changed, is what you're saying?
I think, well, yes. IBM bought them.
Yeah, I see a model, but it's the same philosophy. The page might look different.
Basically the same, but I can't, it's different.
Yeah, it's changed the page. The page look up, but all the data is still the same. You can see, you can put in layers like Larry's got on the other top. You can put in, look here, current weather and all that shit. Weather Bug is another one. There are literally hundreds of things that are out there. Ventuski, anybody here use Ventuski? No, I love it for the name. I have no idea why it's called Ventuski. It's probably Billy Bob Ventuski that did this. But Ventuski's big claim to fame is they show the weather of the wind maps. And I was going to pull it up as a demo, but City Norman thinks it's an evil site. But it shows you the wind map. So if you're watching the wind vectors to see where the high speed winds are going. I used it initially for balloon launches, when we did balloon launches. You can see where the winds are going, and that's a very good way to show that. So Ventuski's a good one that's out there. W5NOR.org/weather is a site that kind of combines all of those things. We've got the local OUN products that come through that show severe and
Windy
is another one.
is another weather, wind map.
Oklahoma Mesonet, I didn't think about Mesonet. Oklahoma Mesonet has got their sites that show 77 different looks at weather across the different counties in the states in Oklahoma. One of the best meso sites in the nation. Very good. Lots of places to look, and I know when you're in the middle of a storm, you can get inundated. One of my best ones for being in a storm in the middle of a fight is lightningmaps.org. And lightning maps show you actually the live lightning strikes that are coming in. And you can see where that high area of electrical activity is. You know, without regard to whatever the rest of the shape of the storm looks like, that high electrical activity is always a good place to go find. It pops in things. Anybody use lightning maps?
Yes.
Isn't it amazing? Whether by it's amazing that you can actually see the dot on your screen before you hear the noise, if it's more than about 1.5 miles away from you. The signal goes from a receiver. There's a receiver on top of the weather service. It takes, I think, 9 different receivers to trip those off. It goes back to Germany, gets processed, and comes back to your phone or your computer faster than the audio can get about 1.5 miles from here. Truly amazing. There are not many detectors around here, as a statement, and that is good because we are the place that has the problems. You have to be a far enough way for us. Now, we are bad, we should put more of them up for other people to help the other folks out. But they have a network that's huge, and I've tried to get in there 6, 8 years ago, and they can't make their devices fast enough to do those kind of things. It's a really cool program. It's a lot of fun. If you want to build stuff, they have kits you can build them. Kind of expensive, but they'll MPing we talked about. Has everybody added MPing while we're sitting here? All right. MPing is a device that our friend Dr. Kim Elmore, N5OP, is principal investigator on, and that is the place to be. If you want to go and report any weather conditions, you can click that button and that will get into the weather service faster than anything else on the planet. They have ways, and I listed there. They have test messages. They have rain, snow, freezing rain, snow, hail, wind damage, water spouts, tornadoes on the ground, flooding, mudslides, and reduced visibility options.
Now, that is mainly for reporting, not finding problems in the weather?
Both.
Okay.
So if you can report it, you can bring up anything. Anything not necessarily about what I got. You can report all of this information, and that's very important for the weather service to get those. It will take your position on your phone, and it will drop that into the map with just a few clicks. So if you're wanting to put something there, that is the place to go. That is the best piece for the weather service to get data in. To get data involved in place. There you go. It should be up at the top. Now, once you have the data in, it aggregates it and it will spit it back to you, so you can actually view the reports that are there. So you'll see each one of the little characters there that maps the data that matches the data that you had out for the weather radars, and you can see what's happening. If you click on any one of those events, you'll actually see what the event is. So click on those. If you click on them, you'll be able to see what the options are. So you can see the weather stuff. So if you're wanting to report, bang, you hit the button and it'll go in there and take off of that. If you do that, we will actually see it, and it will come through on the weather service. There are no reports for Oklahoma. However, there was one. Somebody up in the Enid area was playing with this 10 minutes ago when I set it up on the screen here. There's a test button. Yep, is there one here?
Yeah, there it is.
There's a test button, and if you hit the test, it will show just a little yellow X on the screen, and that will prove that your system is finding your location and that it's going into the database and back out. When you open it up, it shows you where you're at. It does show you where you're at. If
That's helpful,
because you're never sure where you're at.
I lose myself often.
Yeah, we'll tie that on the little lanyard. But that's something, if you don't have in your arsenal, pull that out. Tuesday nights when you're on the net, pull out the invitation and take a look at it. Broadcast media, I joked earlier, well, I sort of joked earlier about the availability of information there. Oklahoma's got some of the better, weather shows on the planet. 4, 5, 9, 25 have good information. If you're driving around in your car, if you flip to any of the Oklahoma City radio stations, if it's severe enough, they will have it all on the radio, as you're zipping through. Hear all the guys, telling their stories on the broadcast. Check multiple sites, check multiple areas, make sure you're in the right town. Do the right thing. Turn it off when it's raining week. That is a very good thing. That is a very good one. When it's raining, you can tell when raining's there. Whether it's, where they have snow again. We're at a point, can you drag the microphone over to Phil? We're at a point where Phil showed up. Thank you, Phil, for showing up. Appreciate you being here. And we're gonna start talking about the nets, the SCARS nets. And Phil is our resident, I don't know, what do you call yourself? Net guru, net coordinator, net coordinator. He's our favorite net coordinator, and he's the one that's got a lot of information and input on the local net side. So feel free to jump in as you wish. We're just talking about the different ways to get information. And then the next one is the weather net stuff. So do you have anything prepared that you would like to go, Your Honor?
Actually, I have to apologize to the group because I did not remember that I was supposed to do it.
Oh. Memory is a bad thing.
And I got my note here.
He's
that
got-
I written 30 seconds ago.
But we're going to talk about
I can talk about that.
yeah, what we're doing. The big thing is what we're doing, how we start them up, and how we what we should talk about. We got to switch up on that.
This thing working?
There you go. Now it is.
I guess it's working.
Yep. Talk about what you want to do, or who should report, what should we report. We've got weather. I've got the reporting requirements listed here as well. So.
Okay, we'll talk about the SCARS, what we call the Aries net, the real Aries net, not the practice net, on Tuesday night. So there's severe weather coming through Norman. And somebody decides, and we really don't care who, that the SCARS never should report severe weather. Supposing it's one of the emergency man.
That guy behind you.
The guy behind, yes. But one of the things they preach really hard is don't self-deploy. Well, they asked us to go out and drive into a tornado, fine. Otherwise, don't do it.
Just for the record, David wouldn't ask you.
David wouldn't ask us to drive through a tornado.
That time I got to stop them.
Yes, yes. But if you're at home and you've got good information, they need it. And that's what we're here for. So somebody decides we're gonna open up a Aries net for weather reporting. We're a little bit like the fire department. The first guy that opens up the net is the net control operator until we get a better. So
And that battery guy's never going to key the radio down and get on.
suppose, that's just suppose, somebody calls me and says, we need to open up an Aries net. So I grab my script, I open up the net, I give a little announcement spiel, and I ask for people to check in. So people start checking in. We don't have a role because we don't have any idea who may be available. It might be at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. That happened before. Fortunately, tornadoes don't go through on a schedule. They don't all come through at 7 in the evening. So sometimes people are not available. Unfortunately, my boss has some kind of attitude that send me money, I have to actually go work. So in the
Or they show up.
at least show up. In the script, I'll ask area members, storm fathers, to check in with their name and their call sign. Once upon a time, we used a sign call number. I was number 48. I never could remember that.
You did now.
And I had no earthly idea what anybody else was. So we put that, we are using call sign. Because a lot of you guys don't remember the call signs. I'll ask for severe weather reporting. I'll ask that all traffic be passed through the net control operator. You've heard a lot of that spiel on Tuesday night. And that's why we say that on Tuesday night. You get used to that. We'll ask for you to report severe weather. Are we up to that script? Are we up to that screen?
The different reporting requirements?
There. 1 inch hail, high wind, currently a tornado on the ground, a funnel cloud, which is a tornado that's not quite on the ground. Everybody know what? How you tell a tornado on the ground? If buildings are flying up in the air, or you're getting arc flashes from power lines, or power lines that have been blown together, you can report that as a tornado on the ground. Rotating wall cloud, persistent wall cloud. What the heck is a wall cloud? Well, you learn that in your storm training that you're supposed to get, right? Rainfall, heavy rain, flash flooding, trees blowing down, obvious damage. If you're looking across the neighborhood and roofs are coming off of the shingles are coming off the roof in your neighbors, that's probably worth reporting. We report that back to the emergency management. Now, it could be that, to say I'm in the middle of doing this, and Mark or Lee or Bill or somebody shows up down here at DOC, and what's the best place to have a net control operator in the EOC? So if they show up down here at the EOC, I'll relinquish that control to them.
If they're capable of it.
If they're capable of it, if they want it. A little bit like the fire captain out at the fire, he's the boss until she shows up, right? Something like that. But anyway, the net control operator shows up down here and he can touch the net control and he'll announce that. And our job is to funnel information into the net control operator, and then they'll funnel that onto the national weather curve. There was a question raised once before, the weather curve at ham radio, licensed operator, why don't we just call in directly? Well, because they got a lot to do, and their cockpit busy, is really busy at that point, and they don't want to hear from 50 others. They want to hear from one control operator that can call out and say, we have a tornado on the ground at this location,
And they're doing that now over chat.
over chat.
The weather service has minimal licensed cameras available, especially with remote. You guys working at the house, that makes it more difficult. But the NWS chat is what we use to backhaul that.
That keeps our channel clear. Okay, if David asks us to go out to a location, we can, we'll go to that location and report. One of my favorite locations is out on Highway 9, because I can see weather moving in from the west. And there's some high hills out there. You can see the whole west side. So you can give them about a 5-minute more early warning by being out there and saying, well, there's a tornado, there's a storm cloud over Blanchard moving northeast. And that gives them a little more early warning. So they like that.
Yeah, and then, opening your budget,
962. They read, yes. What they don't want, what we don't want. I may call your call sign, weather report, please. Call sign, weather report, call sign, weather report. If it's not severe, say nothing severe. Now, there was a guy that called in and 85 UGO for Whopper. So yes, go ahead. Well, it's fairly clear here. We're starting to see sunshine. We had hail about 5 minutes ago and some heavy rain, but it's down to sprinkle now. And I'm not seeing any high winds. High winds are kind of dissipating. But there's trees blown down the block. How long did that take? A minute, 2 minutes. And this guy blubbering on about what's not happening. In the meantime, there's this other guy out here at 9 and 62 looking at a tornado on the ground, wanting to call it in. And he can't do it because I'm blubbering on about what's not happening. So please don't report what's not happening. Report what? Sheet. Report the severe weather that is happening. The area's net will stay open until EOC or someone tells us it's going to move past. You can close the net, and we say thank you very much. Net's now closed. If you're out, you can go back home. What else do I need to add about that?
David's point for himself.
and then,
Doesn't like, doesn't like. Doesn't like.
It's hard to believe that my old age is catching up and my voice is going.
It's time to make it on Zoom.
Couple things on that narrative there. One, don't self-employ. I get older and wiser. I'm not a big NIMS fan anymore. If I'm here in the EOC, I need it. If you're in the availability, I don't obviously want you to put yourself in harm to get here. But if I'm here, then there's no doubt in my mind I need that, because I need someone to watch NWS Chat. That's a big thing. I need somebody to answer the phone, somebody to watch the radio while I'm sending off my boss or city manager, whoever else. That's why don't wait on me to say yes, I want it net or Dave or anybody else. I mean, you as a club make that determination, because I'm just not gonna live here. David lived like 2 miles from his DOT. I live 21. So if the situation calls for it, if your leadership needs to make that decision, make us clear whether that, not me. I may come in and capitalize on your asset, but I'm not going to, very rarely do I call somebody up and say, hey, I I need a weather. Don't wait, because that, by the reporting measures, I will also say, don't report, well, they're showing on channel 5. And documentation, whoever is going to be initiative enough to start a net needs to have a note paper right next to them. Somebody needs to record it, and that is the biggest thing I need to have happen here.
Tom, who, what,
The
when?
documentation,
Who, what, when, where?
because I have to validate that against what the public safety side is being told through dispatch, and I assure you, it's night and day. And your field of observation is within the parameter, 360 degrees parameters of your house. If you're reporting, unless you clearly see down the block that Armageddon's coming, that's not your report. Somebody else's report. You know, don't generalize way outside that what you hear, see, think, unless you actually see it, or somebody else told you, because that just adds one more thing that we have to clarify. I had another thing on here, and I can't remember what it was. So, that's my version. I mean, again, and, oh, I know what I was gonna say. I went to the Southwest Workshop there, emergency management yesterday. A few years ago, they started this program called 1DA, one damage assessment, started in individual assistance arena, and now it's in the public assistance arena. And eventually here, I hope that we'll do a training session on 1DA, download an app and put it on your phone, and you can record all the damage that you're seeing. On an app, and it gets shot straight to the Office of Emergency Management, and consolidate all those things, spit it out and print it out, send it back to me. So that's there's some good things and bad things about that, like anything. So hopefully we'll get that some training.
And a great point, I appreciate your help, David. You want to give that to Phil. The big things, the big key things, we use a report in place, stay where you're at. If we have enough people in Cleveland County, there's over 1,000 acres in Cleveland County alone, that we can usually solve any problem like somebody's house. There's been a couple cases where, that I remember, that reports come in that say Highway 9 is full of trees from 84th to 24th. And I live on 84th and 9, so I jump in the car and sit down Highway 9 at high speed, and there wasn't a thing on the road. So that was a special request to go out and chase something. It was after the storm, it was a damage statement. They were trying to figure that out. Don't go out and self-deploy. Everybody, Aries, all the rest of the world says don't self-deploy. If you're needed, you'll be pulled. Travel during the severe weather is discouraged. Obviously, some folks have to come down here to work the OC, but stay where you're at. Stay in your own shells. And anybody remember the words drive south? No. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like more than White Island to this day.
Never lived that down.
Nor should he.
Or, yeah, that's a very good.
Never watched.
Yeah. Yeah. So big thing is that David push everything through net control, make it on that list. You notice marble size hail was not there. You notice dime size hail wasn't there. We don't, 6-inch hail. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's more than an inch. We want to know about the more than an inch. We don't need the other stuff. Pea-size hail, none of that stuff matters. M-ping is the place for those kind of things. So put that app on your phone. M-ping is the way to go on that kind of stuff. I can't stress enough what David did. Please do not relay any reports you don't have first-hand knowledge of. It makes us look really stupid when a ham reports blah, blah, and then 30 seconds later on the chat comes in that Channel 4 says the exact same thing. And our guys were watching Channel 4 and located it around. So if you don't see it, we're not going to report it. It's just a waste of everybody's time. It's not there. We typically don't have time to do updates on warnings and watches, make sure you get that from the other sources. If it's not an exciting day, you will get some of those that say a watch or a warning has come out. The chat will give you advance warning if something coming out, doesn't mean it always does. And they say, we're gonna put something out for Norman, and then poof, somebody overrides it and it doesn't go out. So you let the other two sources that you have pick up those. If they want something from you, they'll ask for it, besides those reporting. Don't report power outage. My power is out. How many of those we get at a time? Everybody. 80% of the people. I mean, there's just a lot of people. That's not important. OEC and OG&E both have meters that report power outages. They know it the second the power goes out. It's poof in their systems, and they already have that. If you need some information, OG&E's customer service is available at that number, 405-272-9595, and OEC's is at 405-321-2024.
Here's the footnote on that.
Put it on.
Both OG&E and OEC have automated attendance. When you call in, they're gonna talk to the machine, give them the message, and hang up. They'll get it.
Yeah, and it is already reported. You do not need to report power outages. Wait,
I also had an app on my phone.
yep, OEC has an app that you can do that with. Good point.
I think one of the things they do want though is high voltage power lines laying on the ground, sparking.
Good point.
They want to hear that.
Yeah, you got some damage, that's in the damage clause, report all that stuff. See, power lines down, we had some that, I remember sending Lee out on 9 and the interstate. And they said, well, you gotta report there's a problem out there with the power line. He got out there and a semi caught one of the transmission lines. Boing. Yeah, it's bad over here. So, and my comment when I told him, he said, I'll go out and do that. I said, well, if you feel comfortable, go ahead. I'm not telling you don't. He said, I understand.
One more comment. If the power line's on the ground, not sparking, you're laying there, don't go near it. They used to work for the electric company. That power line may be hot, lay on the ground. Don't go near it, ever.
Okay, it is not dead until it is grounded and dead. And during a storm, nobody is grounded and dead. So stay away from it. If you walk towards it, there can be a high voltage potential between each step. You can make a step and it can be 15,000 volts between your two steps. You figure out the resistance of your body, and do the V equals IR stuff that Ron told us about the other day in the class. It's gonna smoke parts you probably don't want smoke. Yeah, you have to turn your license back, you have to do that. Real quick story, Sir Storm's Lab didn't know that. They had guys, I saw it on the video, 2 in the morning, watching the video of some guys doing some storm chasing. And I remember sitting back in the chair watching the video, and all of a sudden you come up, you see the power line on the ground. My thing, 2 in the morning, okay, they're gonna back up, turn around and leave. Nope, you hear the door open. The guy's mumbling something, can't hear his audio very well. Goes back to the car and he picks up a voltmeter.
Oh, you dumbass.
And he puts the voltmeter in the dirt and on the power line.
Oh.
I just about split. I can't believe it because there were 4 other people watching the same video and nobody understood how that was a problem. So I found their boss the next day and I said, he was a ham. David Russ, everybody remembers David. He was a ham and I said, here's what I saw, this. His eyes got this big. and he found everybody had a voltmeter and took it away from them. And he explained that's not going to do it. But literally, it could be, I work for a power company, contract for a power company. We teach our guys to shuffle step if they're ever in a bad situation. It is that potentially bad. If you just walk forward and you're dead. DRT, dead right there. So not a good thing to play with. Bottom one's kind of fun. Powerautages.us, and they play with that one. That shows you real-time power outages everywhere in the United States. You can pick up by state, you can pick up by power company, it'll show you what's going on. So if you're seeing a storm go through, that's a really good one to watch, how much damage there's up. I like that a lot. That does really, really good job. Back channel, we kind of hinted at this before. There are a number of us in the club that are in the NWS Chat two-way system. It's on a XMPP or a pigeon program, if you know what those are. If you don't know what those are. We have direct access to the weather service folks, and they see what we put in there, and then we'll respond to us if there's a need for a question. Again, if you're on that chat, if you're one of those guys on that chat, don't say, "Hi, how you doing?" Don't do the stupid stuff. I've seen it everywhere. You know, don't put your name out there so somebody else sees it. Report bad stuff, nothing else. Don't get involved with that. During a clear sky, they do it. Yep. Well, yeah, communications. Yeah. There are other options to move data, but yeah, that's when. On that call, on that chat are academics, folks from the universities, all the research guys, the media. You'll see the media folks in and out there. They'll be saying, "Hey, we're seeing this on our radar. What are you guys seeing?" And they'll compare the radars in that back channel. A lot of hams that do reporting for emergency managers, and then emergency management folks are on that channel. So a lot of us are connected on those in real time. It is the backbone of the weather service. I can't say much, but I can say they're working on enhancing the amateur radio presence in the northern office. And that should be fun the next day.
They also take what you say up there with gospel.
Right, they tend to know people, you know, if it comes from a train spotter, usually when, you know, Leo puts something, I'll put something in there, we state train spotter reports, so that they know this is not some Joe Blow off the street.
Because I've looked at the EOC and put something in there, and a couple of minutes later, it's going out over Channel 9.
Or that is why, because Channel 9 can see it, they'll push it on forward someone else. So that's gotta be gospel. That's why we're so adamant about do not repeat information. Weather nets, this is preparation. Make sure you're good on all the channels, the 06, the 88, backed up on the UHF, and Phil will test those as we get to severe weather. They'll start bouncing around in different places. You should be able to, if you don't hear a net on one of the channels, look at those other ones. Look at 06, look at 88, look at UHF, and just keep flipping around until you find something. Make sure you have Simplex operations program, and make sure you have an antenna good enough to operate Simplex. If you got to operate an antenna that's good enough to operate Simplex, you can hit repeaters, and that's what you need to do is make sure that you do that. So if you're on those nets where we test Simplex night, and you can't hear anybody, you need to start working on the antenna to get going. You might want to do something in your attic, so that it's not hanging off in the roof in the middle of the sensor. Victor has a one of those little picture doggies up in his attic that he uses just for severe weather days. Take a J and do something like that. Preparations, you also want to make sure you have, what, comment, go ahead. Oh.
One of these Tuesday nights here in the springtime, we'll do an areas net on UHF, and we'll do an areas net on Simplex. And the purpose of that is to give you an opportunity to test your equipment, make sure you can operate there. Thank you.
And trust me, it will be chaos in a normal Tuesday night, just because people are doing something different. Doug Forsythe was a big weather guy on every frequency, on all this stuff. First time we did that, he was mad at himself the next week. I can't believe I couldn't make that happen. I had to read the book and figure out how to reprogram the radio. And you don't want to do that during the weather.
No.
Emergency radio power. This can be a huge, where's Peter Corey, he's not here. This can be a huge battery backup, solar powered inverter that powers your toaster and the radio. Or it can just be a talkie that has extra battery. You know, it does not have to be a huge, it can be a generator that kicks on. Lee's gonna say 15 seconds after the power goes off, he's back online with his remote, with his generator. That's great, but not everybody has a generator. So make sure you have generator, make sure you have batteries. Flashlights are always a good thing. These things always happen when you can't see stuff. And more importantly, the one connector you need to tighten underneath the desk is gonna be the one you need a flashlight to get to. That's okay. Fuel tank's full. If you got cars, make sure your cars stay full of fuel during these times. If you have generators, make sure your generators fuel, hydrogen devices.
Who's in the waiting room?
Well, pardon?
Who's in the waiting room?
Should be waiting. Is that waiting? Right?
Yeah, I turned it on because I got some people I didn't recognize.
They're probably in the waiting. Turn them on. Let them in. Let them in. Let them in. Know your location and life is good on that. So that's prepared. Anybody have any needs that you don't have figured out for preparing for severe weather? We're here Tuesday night, 6:30 for Elmer night, and there's a lot of folks that can help you get going on that, figure it all out. Big thing is test. Go back to that. Last. No, oh yeah, thank you. Know your location. Chris joked about it, but during the storm, one of the things that our net operators had said was, give me your closest, your mile marker section. And it was amazing. Out in Boonies, Highway 9 and 84th, I got that one down. But those folks in town confused where a section line is. Bury a section line is, Lindsay a section line is. Pull out that map, because in theory, you're not gonna have the fine control. In a bad situation, you're gonna have street signs along, you're gonna have all kinds of stuff.
How many people in here know their latitude and longitude?
From memory,
Oh, well, no, for their house.
35 dot.
How many people have ever looked at their latitude and longitude for their house? Do it. It's easy. Get your phone out. It'll tell you. If you've got a shelter, report that to the fire department when you register your shelter. That's how they find you. I've been in places where there is no street signs. There is nothing but no blades of grass. You know, not having anything to refer to for a landmark, won't help you. A GPS coordinate will help you.
Here, there's the guys That's the guy I'm feeling. Good job.
Got a hacker on our program.
Typical net operating criteria. Tornado warnings, we'll get one up and running. Thunderstorm warnings. Great potential for tornado or thunderstorm warnings. Any event that requires organized communications. It could be not severe weather, it could be something else. Truck rolls over, something else. We've got lots of those. We are not only strict, there is no strict requirements. I've referred to it before as the hungriest one cooks. So if you think that you need a net, pull up the net and start it. If you need help, pull up the net, start it, and then call for help. Say, hey, somebody find me some help on this. And my phone usually rings or Phil's rings or something. And usually we say, what? Why are they doing a net? And then we look at the screen and the weather, and oh my God. It sneaks up on you. It's tough. So those are the reasons we started. How to get more involved? How many people here are signed up on AriesOK.org? Remember, put your name in there. You think so? If not, go there, log in. AriesOK.org/join will get you up and running. If you go sign up there, that way at least we'll have you tagged. So if we need help in Cleveland County. Question. Yeah. Good question.
I'm glad I saw that. That's going to be part of my question, but just from the mere fact that we're part of the Norman group here, the club, does that make us a member of this Aries deal, or do we have to maintain that answer the question here?
You need to be registered with Aries. There's no membership involved. Any amateur radio operator is allowed to be involved in that. And make it happen. If you want to sign up there, go ahead and sign up there. You'll get some messages a couple times a year to remind you to check your information. It also is a place to put the lat long if you wanna put it in there, you wanna store it, you can go and pull it back and do it.
No, it's not.
You got something, Bill?
Oh, we're trying to calibrate his compass.
And you're close to the microphone.
Yeah, like 15 feet away.
No, Bill is close to the microphone.
You know,
The microphone's on.
It's all right. We like Bill.
yeah. Cleveland County Emergency Coordinator is Randy MM at ME.com, W6 KPR. Give him a buzz. You can Phil Jr. Lee is always a good contact on that W5. It's LHG or HLT? Oh, it's HLT. Right. It's LHG. If you're what county are you in?
Grady.
If you're in Grady County, you can visit with our friend, I was gonna say Lee Jr., that's not right. Our friend Larry.
He's doing a good job today, isn't he?
Our friend Larry, he's in charge of the emergency coordinator stuff. Grady County. Oh, very well. The tomatoes they grow are just for myself. Who's the coordinators out there in Clinton? Do you have any idea, Andrew? Mike Galloway? So, I'm sorry? Oh, Lonnie, yeah, Lonnie, yeah, those guys out there are animals, they're good. And you'll hear those guys on the DMR net, so as you start listening to this real weather, you'll hear voices from across the state, that's kind of fun. Put your plug, go ahead.
I'm the assistant coordinator for Cleveland County. If you are interested in getting further in depth into areas or wanting to work some, help us with nets, things like that, please let me know. I'll get you started on the right, training, because there is free training that you can get. And yeah, we need people that are serious about it.
We do have some open districts out there in the areas that would be real helpful to Mr. Mark Kleine as far as coverage. He will mention to you about that. Everybody we can get on there is a plus for the state.
The area site has a bunch of training opportunities, the FEMA stuff. That's if you want to do some more involvement, it gets you involved and you learn techniques that the FEMA incident control system, ICS, uses, and it's a command system that they use to make this happen. And it makes you understand how those networks work. And even if you're not involved in it, you can see how those commands work. They have very strict protocols. What they ran into places like Katrina was everybody was doing something different. So they're trying to get all the folks the right way. FEMA has a really good program and it's available on the areas located out there. Yep.
You tell them about the 100, 400, 700 that they can get online.
Those are those classes. Those ICS 100, 200, 700, and 800. There's also some other classes that are there. If you want to go farther, there's something called AUXCOM, Auxiliary Communication, and that's a training system here in Oklahoma. We work very well with the auxiliary communicator folks. I said the same speech a couple weeks ago in the class. We get along well with the RACES, ARES, AUXCOM, and all of that kind of stuff. Other parts of the country, that's a don't touch my duchy kind of thing, where the AUXCOM people won't talk to the ARES people. And in an emergency, that's just stupid. I have no idea. Yeah, it's really, I mean, your RACES, I can't talk to you. I'm here. No, that you can't do that. And we have a very good culture in Oklahoma on making that happen. So, it's a good thing that we all work together, and it's a good thing that Larry's sitting here from Grady County, and we've got Cleveland County here, and we work well with the Shawnee folks and all the rest of it. So, questions? We're at the favorite slide, the end slide. Questions? Anybody want to see anything demonstrated? Any questions for the group? Jeffrey.
Oh, man. It seems like we're always getting started with the shit has already kind of hit the fan.
Yeah, the question is on early startups on that, or they've been late. Sometimes they are. Problem is whoever's listening has got to start up. That's where the folks that are listening have to get something going and make it happen. You know, if Lee's heading out here, he made the call to get somebody going and come out this direction, and that's just fine. You know, this location needs a liaison, and that control needs to be, you know, off the net or off the site somewhere. So the guys here in the middle of the battle aren't crazy. It is not organized when you're here. So being kind of net control up and running together. The goal is to get them up and running earlier. Some of these things come screaming in, and you've never seen them over there. That's where we hope to rely on the folks west of us.
Well, this is one thing we can talk about a little bit more from David here. I don't know exactly what, I've been part of Galen's group. I don't know, the first 911 kind of that he uses is what? Things are 30, 45 minutes out, he'll send a text, phone call to all of us. Heads up, get ready to go, guys.
Yeah, and they talk about getting a heads up call early on. And that's possible. The thing is, we've got a much larger group that are involved in this. So that's a good thing. But yeah, early is always good. Any other questions? Otherwise, I appreciate your assistance. I really appreciate your assistance over the next 3 or 4 months when this gets crazy. And join us Tuesday nights on the net. Practice. If you have questions, practice. Talk about the questions. Come here Tuesday nights, and we'll help you solve any of the problems you've got in that. I really, you need to mention Tuesday night. Oh, Monday night, deal on that. Deal on that Monday night. We'll get that on the rest of the next part. But thank you very much. Appreciate your assistance.
We want to thank Mark and Phil today for the program, and we're going to send it back to. We're going to go ahead and take a 5-minute break real quick. We'll take a quick 5-minute break, and then we'll get on with the meeting for today.
Leave.
Aye, aye.